Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the 4 new sets that are coming out in version 1.4, or version 1.5 rather. So the first question that we have and we want to know before we dive individually in these sets, are the domains worth it to farm? If you talk about efficiency, I think the new Relic domain, the Caravan of Corrosion here, is a little bit niche because it requires you to be able to utilize the follow-up set as well as some sort of DOT. But I'll explain more in this one why this is more general than it actually looks like. But this domain definitely a little bit more niche, especially when you compare it together with the recent speed set as well as the HP percentage set. HP percentage and speed is universal for most characters, which is why I think it's much more efficient to farm that domain. But that being said, I think that the 2-piece domain that is going to be appearing in Simulated Universe 8 is quite efficient. Quite interesting, although it doesn't have any crit. It's going to be more geared towards, for example, supportive characters, and we'll talk more individually on what these do. But Simulated Universe 7, the current one, the current latest one in the game, is very, very good to farm as well because it gives you crit rate, it gives you broken kill, which is a hybrid between DPS and even one very generalistic set like broken kill as well. If you guys are interested in any of the build guides on the channel, I'll be doing an updated build guide for any of these characters that I mentioned here once the game goes live and I do some testing as well. Check out this video, I'll link like the playlist in the video card above if you're looking to build any character. That's like the best go-to you can find for information too on the channel. So let's start off first with the easiest one to talk about, the Prisoner in Deep Confinement. I think, in my opinion, like this is the best set out of all 4 of them, and I'll explain why do I think so, even though there's another one that's of course like super strong. For this one, I think most of us kind of know like the general basics. If it's a DOT set, characters that benefit will be your typical DOT characters. For example, Kafka, your Luca, your Sampo, Kuei Naifen, all these characters will definitely benefit from it because it's a DOT set. But I think one important thing that a lot of people might not know, and that's like, this is my value add, is this set actually is very, very interesting. It changes the concept of DOT characters to become a bit of a defense breaker in that sense. This not only can be placed on DOT characters, but you can also play on your DPS characters. For example, we saw a lot of people farming this Genius of Brilliant Stars, for example, for a character like Jingliu, which is very interesting because of the 10% defense ignore. Sometimes it becomes 20%. If you get 3 DOTs here, you already get the 18% very quickly. Plus you get a bit of like additional stats here for the attack 12%. And I think it's definitely very interesting moving forward because your DOT characters can proc a lot of these effects too. Another thing that I think is also interesting to note is you don't exactly have to play a DOT character to get this defense shredding. You can always run, for example, the light cone for preservation unit like Trend of Universal Market. That procs a bit of burn already, so it's very easy to get at least that 1 stack of defense ignore, which makes this set actually a lot more generalistic than a lot of us might actually think, especially if we are talking about people using already Genius or Brilliant Stars just for the defense ignore as well. And Trend of Universal Market definitely is going to help in making a lot of the other characters, the preservation units, come into the game, proc a bit of defense ignore too, which may change a bit of builds, especially if you are slotting in maybe a character, for example, like Serval, who's able to do some damage, able to proc like, for example, DOTs for the team, give you a bit of AoE damage, at the same time helping get this effect up, will be very interesting to consider too. Nonetheless, I think this is probably one of the more, the better sets, especially since it brings DOT characters into the game. As we know, the usage rate for Kafka unfortunately is very, very low. It does buff a lot of characters in the game that aren't too super in the meta. I like to see a bit of breadth in the roster rather than being too dominated in like one style of play. So very, very good changes. I like this set a lot. But do I think this domain is worth it to farm? I don't really think so. And the reason is because Ashblazing Grand Duke is a pretty niche set. I'm going to talk about what these colors mean in a little bit. But first, this is a bit more niche because it's really for follow-up attackers. Whereas this one, you can argue, like Prisoner in Deep Confinement, you can argue some characters might be able to use this, like maybe Jingliu in a team where there are some DOT procs here and there, depending on the paired character that you play. This one, on the other hand, can't really be used outside of follow-up attacking team members, especially since this is mostly scaling off of follow-up attacks. Now, that being said, that nicheness aside, is it good for follow-up attackers? The second part would definitely be it depends. This 4-piece sounds very confusing at first, but I do think it takes into account the instances of damage. So like Jingliu's Lightning Light Lord, when you have that full 10 stacks, even though it's considered as like one turn order for the Lightning Lord, but within that many piercers that he slams onto the ground, it does many small instances of damage. So I do think that each of those small instances adds 1 stack here, up to a maximum of 8 stacks here, which gives him somewhere between like, I don't know, 8 times 6, 48 I guess, 48% attack bonus, which is a lot considering that you also get this 20%. Jing Liu, a character like, Jing Yuan rather, keeps mixing up the names nowadays. So a character like him can really proc the effects very well, because he only has one major follow-up attack, and that whole attack is considered an instance. So I think that the effects only remove after the entire follow-up attack. So you use it once, maybe you get a bit of bonus. We have to do the exact testing. This is just based on like, my understanding of the wording. So the first instance, you build up the 8 stacks. The second instance, you burst throughout the 48 stacks, and then it resets. You do it again. The question that I have instinctively on top of my mind is, as he's doing those small instances, does each instance increase in damage because they slowly build up stacks within like the same attack? And does like, if you have the full stacks and you use the next follow-up attack, does it slowly decrease, or after you use the first strike in that mini instance and it all disappears? These are all questions that I have, but otherwise it's probably going to be an average of all these numbers, which is roughly around like 20%, 24% attack bonus as well. But still, this 2-piece effect is super good, because this 2-piece effect can be comboed with like Electro or the Lightning bonus. You can combo with like Fire bonus, super good. Green means I really like it on these characters. I think it's a huge Jingyuan buff, super good. Purple means I'm not really sure. We have to do more testing first, because characters like Himiko, characters like Topaz and Nambi, the fire set lava of the lava smith of lava forging or something like that is good, but the 4-piece is quite meh. And this 4-piece effect, depending on how it works, it might outperform the fire set. But I think definitely the baseline is a 2-piece combo is definitely going to be a lot better for these two characters. Easier to farm, you don't have to spend so much time in this domain as well. But also going to probably be on par or slightly better than the current alternative that we have, which is like 4-piece Fire Smith of Lava Forging. And that is really good. That's why I put it in purple. We have to see more testing to see whether it's the 4-piece is worth it. But definitely I think the 2-piece is going to be worth it based on the top of my head math kind of like guesstimation. Why here is grey is, although these characters are follow-up attackers, a question I would have is, they definitely won't find this 4-piece as valuable, because Clara counters once, one major instance, so she only can build up 1 stack, so it's like one time she gets that 6%, 1 times off. The physical set that she has is already pretty strong, so likely the best she can go for is like this 2-piece set bonus. But for the 4-piece physical set is also really strong, which is why more testing has to be done for that as well, which we will definitely do on the channel. For other characters, I don't have Clara on my account, but anyways, March 7 also only counters in 1 instance, and there are a lot of other sets that she can use that will make her much more generalistic, can switch up the play. She definitely can use this if you're playing her as a follow-up damage dealer, likely maybe not going for the 4-piece because she can use a lot of other sets. Similarly for Herta, depending on how this kit, this 4-piece effect works, the ice set is also pretty decent, so you might want to run like a 2-piece to get the maximum value if you don't care about like min-maxing gear. More testing has to be done on this set, which is why I won't talk too much about it, but I think more people will be interested in this next set here, the Firmament Frontline Glamoth. So this one is interesting because it has a 12% attack percent increase, and when your speed is higher than a certain amount, 135, 160, whereas speed deals 12 to 18% more damage. For any of you asking, does it actually benefit DOT characters? The answer is yes. For any of you who want like more testing showcases and more DOT basics guides, you might want to check this other video that we have done on the channel where we talk about everything you need to know about DOT. Damage bonus increases it, defense reduction definitely increases DOT too, and many more. Check that video out if you are looking to expand your knowledge on damage over time. So characters that benefit from this set, I think will be any DOT character, because it's a 2-piece. Currently, if you look at it in the game, the items that you're likely running on your nihility characters probably are Space Healing Station to get that 24% attack bonus, or maybe you're running, for example, this fleet of Ageless or something like that, Ageless something fleet. This one gives you 12% attack, a bit more HP as well. This 12% attack is found over here already, so you don't really need to care about that. The HP percentage, instead of having a bit more chunky, you now get more damage dealt instead. So as long as you can hit like 135, if maybe you're playing with Esther in the team together with Huynh, so you're running like a team like this, and your last slot is a sustain unit, you immediately will be able to proc this damage increase very, very quickly. You get a good combo of fire, burn damage and fire bad damage bonus on this end. So I think this set is definitely worth it. If you're playing a DOT team, will be very interesting to consider. Outside of this, I still haven't found a very solid reason to not use other sets, like maybe the energy recharge for supports, broken kill for hybrid, and etc. There are many other good crit sets available as well. 18% damage percentage is not insanely broken, especially when we see the other crit rate sets, crit damage sets that exist in the game. So I think outside of DOT, this slightly won't be super effective, but more testing has to be done as well through the community too. DOT, I think, definitely got a huge buff with both of these sets. I likely will run Kafka with both of these new sets if I can find good ones so far. I currently run her with the speed set too, and the electric set hybrid. So the last one I want to talk about is the Penacony Land of Dreams. Now, a lot of people would say that this is probably the most attractive set because of a supportive energy recharge and the damage type increase. I think this is super strong, but not as good as the first one for the reasons mentioned. But this is also still pretty good. And why is that? Is energy recharge 5%. It's quite substantial. If you think about the link rope that you get and you put that energy restoration rate, is not only like less than 20%. So you get a lot of it, of this value, from the subset effects. And some characters, if you need to meet certain threshold for rotations, this 5% actually makes or breaks the rotation, especially if you need just a little bit more to complete a one full like scale, normal attack, ultimate kind of loop. This really does help quite a bit too. But that being said, why it's even stronger is because of this second part, the damage increase for all other allies with same damage type as the wearer. Currently, the only other item in the game that has this effect, other than Harmony, some of their effects, is Planetary Rendezvous, which boosts same type damage. This is why a lot of people like to combo, like for example, a character like Bronya together with Blade with Planetary Rendezvous, because it straight up just buffs his damage by a certain percentage depending on your superimposition. Other than that, if you run a character like Pella here, together with this second effect, it turns her like into a pseudo Harmony character, which is very nice, especially if you're running a character, for example, like Jingliu. It's very strong because what you get, I always keep getting mixed up between like Jingyuan and Jingliu for some reason, even though they are totally different characters. It's just instinctive. But anyways, if you are using this for this character, you actually get a very nice ice damage bonus. You get defense breaking, you get defense breaking, you get ice resistance shredding. Now you get ice damage bonus. You get some recharge on her, which is really nice. Helps her get the uptime up as well, making Pella really into like both a Harmony, Nihility, shredding kind of unit. Super strong. And if you combo this like even together with this like first piece here, Prisoner of Deep Confinement, you get a little bit more of like shredding for her if you have some sort of like DOT here and there as well. So interesting to see this combo. I wonder whether it's going to be the best in slot, but that is definitely one angle that we can look at this. I think Penacony of Lands of Dreams is not only just going to be useful for Harmony characters, but a character like Pella too. And of course, I think Tingyun is another huge beneficiary of this Relic set, because she does do a lot in the game, not only for characters outside of her element, but characters, for example, like Jingyuan, same typing, you will get even more benefit out of it, because currently like a lot of people play her together with this Sprightly Von Weg, and the second effect of the Sprightly Von Weg is not super useful in terms of buffing the team even faster, but of course with this damage increase of 10%, it does help push up Jingyuan's damage by even more, which is nice because this patch, as we can see, is a pretty good Kafka buff, pretty good Jingyuan buff, which is really what they need. Currently Lightning is kind of lackluster, and I think it really does a lot of help to these two characters too. Maybe they might be getting a rerun soon, that's why they are getting so much bonuses, but we'll definitely have to do more testing to see and find out. But yeah, many other ways we can play this thing. The biggest question that I have is, does this stack? If it does stack, everyone can run this in the same element team, and I think that will be very strong, because that is a 40 or 30% bonus for every character, because it's all other allies other than the character that's using it, which is very interesting. Universal team, everyone gets 5% and 30% damage bonus for everyone. Will be quite interesting to see. But anyways, that's all for today. Well, I'll be doing more testing and updating all these guide videos because all the builds are going to change. Stay tuned to the channel, and I will talk more in detail of when one set might be good, when you want to consider, for example, using the other sets currently in another video in their build guide videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.